Oriental Series number 53, Ancient Karnataka, Volume 1, History of Tuluva by Bhaskar Anand Saletore, MA PhD, London at CSN, Professor of History, Sir Parshuram Bhav College, Pune. This work deals with one of the most ancient dynasties of Western India. While almost all the other royal families of the south, in one way or the other, were subject to political vicissitudes, the ancient Alupas of Tuluvanadu alone managed to preserve intact the culture and traditions of a people who played a very significant part in the history of the country. In this book, which is based on all available historical materials, the author pays equal attention to the political as well as cultural history, religious life as well as foreign relations of a vital part of ancient Karnataka, which never suffered from Muhammadan invasions, was in a peculiar position to hand down to posterity the unique and interesting history of its people. No account of southern and western India may be said to be complete without reference being made to the splendid achievements of the brave Tuluvas of ancient Karnataka. Pune, Oriental Book Agency, 1936. Oriental Book Agency, price rupees 12 rupees 50 paise, Pune. Pune Oriental Series number 53, Ancient Karnataka, Volume 1, History of Tuluva by Bhaskar Anand Saletore, MA PhD, London at GSN, Professor of History, Sir Parshuram Bhav College, Pune. Pune, Oriental Book Agency, 1936. Other works by the same author. Number 1. Der Werk der Lichtenstein Lehren für die Lösung der indischen Frage, Leipzig, 1933. Price rupees 9. Number 2. Social and Political Life in the Vijayanagara Empire, 2 volumes. Madras, 1934. Price rupees 12. The Wild Tribes in Indian History, Lahore, 1935. Rupees 5. The Maratha Dominion in the Karnataka. It's in the press as of 1936. Other work on ancient Karnataka. The Rashtrakutas and Their Times by Dr. A.S. Altekar, M.A. LLB D.Lit, publishes Oriental Book Agency, Pune. All rights reserved by publisher. Printed by S.R. Sardesai, B.A. LLB at the Samarth Vidyalayas, Samarth Bharat Press, 947, Sadashiv Pet, Pune 2. Published by Dr. N.G. Sardesai, E.M. Mendes, Manager, Oriental Book Agency, number 15, Sukravarpet, Pune 2. To the beloved memory of my elder brother, Bhavani Shankar, who inspired and guided me in this work but was snatched away before its completion. Preface. In the following pages, the history of a province which till now has remained practically unknown has been brought to light for the first time with the help of all available historical materials. This province of Tuluva, now represented by the South Kannada district of the Madras Presidency and the greater part of the North Kannada district of the Bombay Presidency, has ever remained an integral part of the Karnataka, with political relations with almost all the royal families that ruled over the southern and western parts of the peninsula. The dynasty that ruled over Tiruvanadu was never an imperial house, but imperial families alone have not always contributed either to the political or cultural greatness of the country. Royal families of minor states have in a great measure, especially in the Karnataka, helped to preserve our ancient heritage and history. This is the reason why, instead of beginning the ancient history of the Karnataka with the Satavahanas and the Mauryas, I have prefaced it with the annals of the Alupas, whose interesting history dates back to the 2nd century AD and whose district preserved intact the language and culture of the Karnataka when they were threatened with admixture in the other parts of the province. One of the reasons why this ancient dynasty was able to hand down to posterity the culture of the Tulu and the Karnataka people is because of the fact that its province never suffered from the invasions of the Mohammedans, whose onrush proved so disastrous to the stability of numerous states in the western and southern parts of the country. The history of my district has been studied from 5 points of view. In the first chapter, dealing with the legendary beginnings, I have attempted to place Tuluva on the background of the legends of the whole of the western part of India. The second and the third chapters deal only with the domestic and foreign relations of the Alupa rulers, based entirely on their own stone and copper plate inscriptions, as well as those of their neighbors, the Karnataka. Tuluva tradition, as embodied in called Grama Paddhati, which is introduced to scholars for the first time, is incorporated in the fourth chapter styled Village Organization. Religion forms the next topic of my study, based again on epigraphs, literature, and Tuluva and non Tuluva tradition. And finally, the life of Tulu people, gleaned exclusively from their admirable folk songs called the Padadanas, brings the work to a close. In the first appendix, I have given a tentative rendering into Kannada of the passages found in the Greek fast, improved and verified since my earlier rendering of the same in 1926, when I had, at his own request, sent Mahamahopadhyaya Dr. R. Shama Shastri, then Director of Archaeological Researches in Mysore, these passages put into Kannada. A comparative list of the many households of Tuluva, as found in the different versions of the Grama Paddhati, is the second appendix. And the third contains a genealogical account of all the Alupa kings discovered till now. Notwithstanding my continual and personal investigations in the various parts of the district, I find that I have made but a beginning in the direction of writing a complete history of the Tuluva people. These pages, therefore, form only a preliminary study of this ancient and hitherto unexplored province. Since sending the manuscript to the press, I have secured through the kind accession of well wishers and friends various manuscripts which, should there be an occasion in the near future, I shall amply utilize in the next edition of the work. I have deliberately omitted some phases of the history of Tuluva, which will be dealt with in a later dissertation. This work forms the first of a series of 5 volumes which propose to deal with the history of ancient Karnataka from earliest times till the downfall of the Western Chalukyas. I have abstained from giving a bibliography as I have cited almost all authorities with the necessary details in the footnotes. All the works utilized in my work are available at the Oriental Book Agency, Pune. My obligations and gratefulness are due to quite a number of persons. Mr. K.N. Dikshit, M.A., Deputy Director General of Archaeology, Simla, who was good enough to ask the Superintendent of Archaeology, Southern Circle, to send me the transcripts of the following unpublished stone inscriptions found in Tuluva, numbers 372 and 409 of 1927-28, 485, 488, 490, 491, 509 and 526 of 1928-29. Pandit Venkatadasa Acharya and Pandit Kannara Kuduru Bhattarama both of Udupi, who shared no pains either to accompany me in my tours in the district or to assist me in procuring manuscripts or to supply me with all the data I wanted. Mr. S.L. Kapadi, librarian of the Bombay branch of the Royal Asiatic Society, who, with his ever obliging assistance, made it possible for me to recast completely an earlier version of this work during the spring of 1934. Mr. Mr. V. Ganesh Sundar Rao of Udupi and Mr. M. Sundar Rao LT of Bangalore, who have lent me some of their photographs. My brother, Mr. G. N. Saletore, BA, who copied for me a fine version of the Grama Paddhati hailing from Udupi. Mr. K. R. Shetty of Udupi, who has drawn an excellent map of Tuluva for me. My wife, who has prepared the index. Vidya Sudhakara, Dr. Hardat Sharma, who has gone through some of the proofs and offered me his learned advice. Mr. S.R. Sardesai, whose careful execution of the work merits all praise. And Dr. N.G. Sardesai, whose kindness and generosity make it possible for this work to appear in print. BAS Vijayadashami, 1936, 198 upon 11, Tilak Road, Pune, 2. Contents. Chapter 1, Legendary Beginnings, page 1. Chapter 2, The Alupa Dynasty, page 57. Chapter 3, Foreign Relations, page 195. Chapter 4, Village Organization, page 296. Page 5, Religion, page 368. Chapter 6, Life in Early Tuluva, page 459. Appendix A, The Greek Fast with Old Kannada Passages, page 584. Appendix B, Households in the 32 Gramas of Tuluva, 598. Appendix C, Alupa Genealogical Table, page 618. Index, page 621. Map in the frontispiece and illustrations. Ancient Karnataka, Volume 1, History of Tuluva. Ancient Karnataka, Volume 1, History of Tuluva, Chapter 1, Legendary Beginnings. Summary. Derivation of the word Tuluva with the aid of historical and traditional evidence. Number 2. Tuluva in the legend of Parashurama. Historical and traditional notices of the story of Parashurama. Number 3. Examination of the story relating to the alleged creations of Parashurama. Number 4. The veracity of that part of the above story relating to the Sapta Konkanas examined. Number 5. References to Tuluva in the epics and the Puranas. Number 6. Claims of Tuluva to antiquity based on epigraphs, writings of Tamil authors, and accounts of Greek geographers. Number 1. Derivation of the word Tuluva. Ancient Tuluva comprised the whole of South Kannada and a part of North Kannada. The misnomer of Kannada was applied to the district only in comparatively modern times. Tuluva today is nearly 100 miles in length, about 25 miles broad in its narrowest and 50 miles in its widest parts. But according to traditional as well as historical accounts, this province extended far beyond its modern limits in the north. The legendary origin of Malabar, as embodied in the Keralotpatti, relates that the Tuluva Rajya commenced from Gokarna in the north as far as Perumpura in the south. From the evidence of inscriptions to which we shall advert in the course of this treatise, it will be seen that the northern limits of Tuluva, as given in the legendary accounts of Kerala, are by no means unreliable. In fact, so late as the 16th century AD, the people associated the land south of Mirjan, situated on an islet south of Ankola on the Gangavadi river, with Tuluva. But the name Tuluva came gradually to be restricted to a smaller area till with the annexation of the district by the British in AD 1799, it was confined to a stretch of land bordered on the north by the forest line of Shirur and on the south by the town of Charavatturu. The origin of the word Tuluva remains still a difficult question. According to tradition, the name Tuluva is traced to the activities of a ruler called Bhojaraja, also known as Chandrasekhara. It is said that in order to please the Brahmins, he gave them munificent gifts like the Tula Purushadana, Tula Dana, etc. Since he presented to the Brahmins who had come from different provinces gold weighing 100 tolas each. He was called Tulabhara, Tula Raja, and Tula Desadipati, and the people over whom he ruled, the Tulu people. Further, the dynasty to which he belonged came to be known as the Tolar line. Kerala ascribed the name Tuluva to one Tulumban Perumal. This ruler, it is alleged, fixed his residence at Koteshwara, a prominent Shaivite seat in the northern part of Tuluva, just before Kerala was separated from Tuluva. The country was thenceforward called after his name. Starrock merely echoes the opinion of others that the word Tuluva could be traced to the word Tulu, meaning mild, humble, meek, etc. None of these explanations can be given any credence. We may dismiss the last one as being inadmissible both on historical and philological grounds. In the first place, the achievements of the Tulu people in historical times, as we shall presently narrate, bring out clearly a trait in the character of the early Tuluvas, quite opposite to the one which is indicated by the ingenious explanation offered by Starrock. Moreover, there is no evidence to prove that the word Tulu, which is not in common use, as Starrock rightly remarked, was ever current among the Tulu people themselves, and that they called the country which they inhabited by a name signifying a feature in their character which they did not possess. Turning to the other two explanations, we may note that the story of Rama Bhoja's munificence was evidently an invention of the Brahmins, while that of Tulumban Perumal, whose identity itself is a matter of speculation, was the result of confusion between the legends of Tuluva and those of Kerala. The word Tuluva may be derived from the Hale Kannada verbal root Tulu, to attack, signifying thereby the nature of the ancient Tuluva people whose warlike activities in the early ages of history secured for them that appellation from their neighbors, the equally or perhaps more ancient Karnataka people. Evidence in support of this may be secured from their folklore, traditions, faith, games, and political history. The stirring sagas called Padadanas contain their folklore, and these describe, as we shall prove in the later part of this treatise, the activities of gallant men and women whose memories are even now cherished with legitimate pride and affection by the Tulu people. The traditions of the Koragars, some of whom seem to have formed a part of the Tulu people, the Mailars, the Holayas, the Mogars, and others, justify our assumption that they belonged to a warlike race. The traditions of the Koragars, for example, eulogize deeds of a powerful Koragar king named Hubika and his nephew. We shall refer to them later on in the course of this treatise. The legendary account of the Holayas, as recorded in a narrative called Bahudanda, cited by Buchanan, relates that a ruler who belonged to that tribe seized upon the country. In the same account, we are told that the Mogars, who now form the bulk of the fisherfolk of Tuluva, assisted the Hoyas. It is believed that the Mailars or Mallars were the rulers of the country. Ruined forts at Madur, 4 miles to the north-northeast of Kasargodu, and at Kavu, 35 miles to the northeast of the same town, bear witness to the olden times when the warlike Tulu people had conquered the country. Ample evidence can be gathered from their games in order to establish their claims for martial activities in the past. Sports like Ajakai Darpuni, Tappangai, the Ambodi Jatra, Koridi Jaju, Tutedara, Keddasa Festival, Chendu, and Bonte, these are the survivals of the far off times when the militant Tulu people wrested the ownership of the land from the hands of the aboriginal inhabitants. Ajakai Darpuni is a favorite game among the lovers and the bunts. It is a contest between two persons who hold coconuts in their palms at a distance of about 12 to 14 inches and bring the fruits one against the other simultaneously. In this game, the broken fruit is the property of the victor. The Tappangai is a game which is played in the open in front of a household. A coconut shorn of its fibers and well thrown into the air. A scramble follows at a given signal among those present. The Javanere, as the youth of the locality are called, and the strongest retains it in his hands as a sign of victory. This game is common among all classes of people. But the Ambodi Jatra is a pastime which is seen only among the Holayas. It is held at Ermal, Udayavara near Udupi and Ballamanje. The Ambodi Jatra is a mock fight with staves about 3, sometimes 6 feet in length, representing swords between two parties. The Korida or cockfight is indulged in by all classes of people except the Brahmanas and the Jains. We have described it elsewhere in detail. An equally interesting and universal game is the Chendu, or a sort of football played during the famous Jatra at Polali. It is held on the occasion of the car festival, which takes place on the Meena Sankramana in the famous Rajarajeshwari Durga Parmeshwari temple. Popular belief connects the play Chendu with the heads of the Daityas named Chanda and Munda. More interesting than the above is the torch fight called Tutedara, which is best seen in the Bappanadu Grama, a suburb of Mulki, Mangalore Taluka. It is held at night in front of the Durga Parameshwari temple at Bappanadu. Only two rival parties take in it, the people of Bappanadu and those of Karnadu. The latter are led by the Gundal household Manetana, while those of Karnadu by the Balahittalu and the Nadi Kuduru people. Each party consists of 70 to 90 men. They are stationed at a distance of about 50 feet. Torches of coconut leaves, about 2.5 to 3 feet in length, are prepared by the holayas of the respective villages. The combatants are expected to have taken a ceremonial bath and to have abstained from drinking liquor and eat meat. Every combatant has 2 or 3 torches at his disposal. At a given signal, the men of the Kambalasana light a torch and give it to the leader of the Bappanadu Grama. Likewise, a man from the Magandadisana gives a lighted torch to the Karnadu people. On a second signal being given, the two parties throw at each other the lighted torches. The game lasts for about 15 minutes when the leaders of both parties end it. We are unable to determine the significance of this interesting and unique Tuluva game. An equally noteworthy sport of the Tulu people is the hunting excursion on the Keddasa days. This game is common to all the people and is held over the whole of the district. The Keddasa festival begins, according to some, on the 24th of the Tulu month of Mai, that is February or March, or according to others, on the 25th of Makara, that is on or about the 5th of February, and lasts for 3 days. It is held according to the popular conception to commemorate Mother Earth's purification. All the Tulu people suspend work on these days and go a hunting boars, rabbits, and wild pigeons. Food prepared out of baked kudu or horse gram, Dolichos uniflorus, and rice is eaten during these 3 days. The term bonte or Kannada bete is given to an ordinary hunting expedition conducted on a large scale by the chieftains of a locality. The term Bonte, Kannada Bete, is given to an ordinary hunting expedition conducted on a large scale by the chieftains of a locality. How heartily the Tuluva chieftains conducted the Bonte will be seen when we shall describe the life of the people. The whole trend of events from early centuries of the Christian era down to the 16th century, and especially the rise of an indigenous principality which rested solely on the strength of Tuluma arms and which lasted till the 14th century, warlike nature of the Tuluva people in historical times. One significant phrase used in inscriptions in connection with them, as will be given in detail when we shall deal with the political history of the province, was that hostile rulers were like a submarine fire to the ocean, the Tuluva army. Tuluva Balajaladi Badavanalam adds to the testimony that is decidedly in favor of the early Tuluvas being considered as a people of aggressive habits. Section 2, Tuluva in the legend of Parashurama. Tuluvanadu, or as it was known in early times, Alvakeda, was a unit by itself since the earliest ages, both according to tradition as well as history. It is entirely erroneous to assume with the compiler of the South Kannada manual that no definite historic record relating to South Kannada has been found of earlier date than the 8th or 9th century AD, and that it must certainly at one time have formed part of Kerala or Chera, the westernmost of the three ancient Dravidian kingdoms mentioned in the edicts of Emperor Ashoka. An inquiry into the origin of Tuluva as an independent unit brings us to the description of the personality and achievements of one of the most remarkable figures known to Hindu tradition. This is the famous Jamadagnya or Parashurama, as he was known more popularly, to whom is ascribed the existence of Tuluva as a separate historic province. The story of Jamadagnya or Rama, as he is called in the Mahabharata, briefly told, is the following. Once King Kartavirya, also known as Sahasrabahu Arjuna, because he had been endowed with 1,000 arms by Dattatreya, ruler of the Haya tribes, with his capital at Mahishmati, came to the heritage of Jamadagni. He was received by Renuka, wife of the great Rishi, with all due respect. But Kartavirya, filled with the pride of his valor, in return to her hospitality, carried off along with him by violence the calf of the milch cow of the sacred oblations and cast down the tall trees surrounding the hermitage. Bhargava, on being told by his father about the cow, killed the king. The sons of Kartavirya revenged the death of their father by attacking the hermitage of Jamadagni and slaying the old rishi when Rama was away. Rama, in sorrow, vowed to extirpate the whole Kshatriya race. He killed the sons of Kartavirya and thrice 7 times cleared the earth of the Kshatriya caste, and with their blood filled the 5 large lakes of Samanta Panchaka, from which he offered oblations to the race of Brigu. Here he saw his son once again, and on being told by him what to do, Rama offered a solemn sacrifice to the king of the gods and presented the earth to the ministering priests. To Kashyapa, he gave the altar made of gold, 10 fathoms in length and 9 in height. With the permission of Kashyapa, the Brahmins divided it into pieces amongst themselves, and they were thenceforward called Khandavayana Brahmins.